I've listened to all the talks for this week. I'm really impressed by each and every one. All the speakers have given me great feedback afterwards. They enjoyed it and enjoyed getting to know you as well.
Even though I'm not raw, I think I kind of still do 80-10-10. You know what I mean?
Yes, you do. My mom grew up in the city. My dad grew up as rural as it could possibly be. His mom gardened a lot, and so he was used to eating fruits and vegetables because that's what they had. And I thought I was super healthy. I was very athletic, but I was also sick a lot. I had tremendous congestion problems, just tremendous congestion problems. At 6, I started going for allergy shots. And the allergist told me all the things I was allergic to, and most of them were foods, but a lot of environmental stuff too. I didn't really outgrow these allergies. They got worse in many ways, and my eyes started to shut. My lungs started to shut. As an athlete kid, eating everything and anything, eating my weight in dairy every year, eating my weight in meat every year, eating my weight in candy every year. I went to college and studied health and physical education. I took nutrition every semester, and the teachers all stressed the importance of fruits and vegetables. What they actually said was that fruits and vegetables were the most nutritious foods for humans. And I got to the point where I said, gee, I wonder what would happen if I ate only the foods that were best for us to the exclusion of everything else. I went raw, and an amazing thing happened. Things that I couldn't do a day or two before I went raw, I could do. And one of them was run. So I tried, and we went 6 or 7 miles, and it's like I'd been unleashed, and I didn't know where it came from because I'd never run farther than a mile in my whole life. Have you ever had that happen? Where you know the word, but you can't pull it out? That stopped happening. All of a sudden, I had access to all my words. I didn't like to give a presentation and then realize that I'd started a story and couldn't bring it back and didn't remember to ever make the point and things like that. And all of a sudden, that just plain stopped. I noticed a 25% reduction in need for sleep.
I was raw for an entire year, and that was, I only needed 4 hours sleep, and I wanted to sleep more, but I couldn't.
I was only vegan for a few months before going raw. It became obvious that if vegan was an improvement over vegetarian, that raw vegan had to be an improvement over cooked vegan. I mean, it wasn't just anti-nutrients and anti-vitamins. There were so many reasons for not cooking food. If cooked food was discovered today, we couldn't legalize it. The Environmental Protection Agency would never let it out because it's so destructive to human health. You want to be in the parameters. And yet we were sold nutrition on the concept of more is better, which isn't true. More isn't better. That's like having a size 20 shoes instead of the size you wear. It's not better. They were told nothing could be done. And I'm watching sick people get well at a fasting retreat when all we do is get out of the way and let the body heal itself by no longer putting in the negative things, the self-destructive things that they were habitually using on a daily basis. And we stop those things and they would heal. An athlete asked me today, is that really it? Just eat fruit after I exercise? And I go, yeah, that's really it. That is the secret. If we do what they do, we will get the results they get. So eat more fruits and vegetables. If we can increase the percentage of fruits and vegetables on our plate every single meal, if we eat more fruits and vegetables, we're going in the right direction. Whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic plants. The longest lived peoples of the world eat a high carbohydrate diet. World-class performers, they eat a high carbohydrate diet. All of the animals that are anatomically and physiologically similar to us, the anthropoid primates, and they all eat a carbohydrate-based diet. My mouth waters when I see mangoes hanging on a tree. My mouth waters when I see fruit hanging, almost any kind of fruit hanging from a tree. It's mouth, because it's our natural food. And scientists discovered as early as the 1950s and have proven thousands of times since that when dietary fat percentage rises into double digits, predictable health decline happens, either you compromise the delivery of oxygen to the cells, or you compromise the delivery of glucose to the cells, or both. Once you go much past 10%, you're into predictable health decline, which is almost unnoticeable until you get past 20%. The average American's eating 45%, and the average raw fooder is eating 60 or 70% fat in their diet. And it turns out if your protein consumption goes much below 3%, there's a good chance you're going to run into problems. But if it goes over 10, there's a good chance you're going to run into problems. The cross-linked, denatured, enzyme-resistant proteins that we talked about earlier, the body responds to those as if they're foreign invaders. And so it sets out all American cells, the white blood cells. You use them once and throw them away. And you have this flood called the white tide that enters into the bloodstream of white blood cells, raising the normal temperature, what's called preprandial. Before you eat, the normal white blood cell count is around 3 million. But after you eat, it soars up to 15 or 18 million. And it happens to everybody if you're eating cooked food. But it doesn't happen at all on raw food. A lot of studies gone into fat, and what doctors have found out is you got to have some fat. And if you go below 3%, you could get into trouble. Fortunately, if all you eat is fruits and vegetables, your protein intake is going to be around 7%. And if all you eat is fruits and vegetables, your fat intake is going to be 7 to 9%. Incorporated in those fruits and vegetables is enough protein and enough fat for us to do fine, to fall into the parameters that are recommended between 3 and 10. Because if you go over 10% fat, predictable health decline, over 10% protein, predictable health decline, below 3. And if you're somewhere between 3 and 10 on fat and 3 and 10 on protein, your carbohydrate intake, since there's only 3 sources of calories, your carbohydrate intake has to, by definition, be above 80. Hence, 80-10-10. Horses eat grass and people eat fruits and vegetables. End of story. If you don't supply your carbohydrate needs, then you will predictably have cravings. If you were in a field of wheat the size of Kansas, you'd die before you got out. If you were in a field of mangoes the size of Kansas, you'd never leave. Complex carbohydrates are too complex to digest. I saw on a TV show once a bunch of doctors talking, and they said every man over 50 has enlarged prostate. I'm 68. I don't have an enlarged prostate. What's going on? Things are working.
Are you able to tell your age? Is that okay to ask?
I'm 68. I don't mind telling people.
Wow. God, you look amazing. I thought you were much.
Fruit for breakfast, fruit for lunch, fruit before your dinner salad.
I find this subject really fascinating, and I agree with a lot of what you say. But then also, I got Dr. McDougall over on this shoulder.
Dr. McDougall painted himself into a corner. Now he's got to defend the corner. But there's no way he can show me that we're natural starch eaters. If you're hungry for something specific, that's addiction.
Why does it taste so good?
Taste is subjective. I like it too. I like it too. I was raised on it, and I like it. And I like all cooked food. I like a Reuben sandwich. I like a cheeseburger. I like all sorts of things, and it tastes good. The anthropologists tell us that when we switched from an all vegetable diet, from all leaves to fruit and leaves, this increased caloric density is what fostered brain development. Maybe that wasn't it. Maybe the anthropologists were wrong. Maybe we got smarter eating fruit because we had to learn more and remember more. It's not whether we love pizza or bread or mango. I never ate food I didn't love, and I wouldn't eat food that I didn't love. The question is, does the food love you back? My entire approach, when sick people come to me in order to get well, we don't try to fight disease. We don't try to cure the disease or eliminate it or cut it out or anything of that nature, suppress it in any way. We simply let's supply what's needed for health, and health will take over automatically because health is the default state for human beings. If you do nothing all day, every day, your calorie needs go down, but your nutrient needs don't. And if you lower your calorie intake, you lower your nutrient intake. If we just meet calorie needs, it does not mean we've met nutrient needs. The people who can't get past cooked food are telling me they're addicted. They're making it clear. Oh, I can't imagine life without cooked food. Oh, well, then you're addicted.
Oh,
it's that. AJ, give me a month.
I think about this phenomenon that Dr. Lisle talks about called the ego trap, where if the bar is set too high, sometimes people kick over the table and will fail. So I tell people, eat the least restrictive diet that you can do that will give you the results you seek. Because for some people, I'm
in full agreement with you.
When
you're ready, give me a month. A lot of people prefer to be comfortably numb. Oh, I like to get sleepy from my food. I don't want my food to make me sleepy. I'm a performance guy. I want to eat my food so I can continue performing.
Yeah, I don't know if I can commit to a month.
55, 60 years of cooked food.
Oh, yeah.
And you won't give raw food a month?
No, well, listen, Dr. Lisle is my psychologist. He says, never make a big decision when a small decision will do. No, I'm not trying to overcome addiction, but I'm just trying to see what it feels like.
Until you overcome it, you can't even give a fair evaluation.
All right. Well, I can't, listen, just take what you get. Okay. So here's the interesting.
I haven't found on 80-10-10 mental problems accruing, but I have seen mental problems accrue when people try to go strict fruitarian. I have seen people try to eat only watermelon and lose their mind in the process. I have seen people try to eat only orange and lose their teeth in the process. I knew a man who tried to eat only tomatoes and lost most of his bone calcium in the process. None of this kind of things has anything to do with what I'm recommending. I'm recommending a diet where meals are incredibly simple because that makes for optimum digestion. But the diet includes huge variety throughout the course of the year because that makes for optimum nutritional sufficiency. Can you imagine the time where the guy in the raincoat opens up his coat and says, "Psst, want to buy some cooked food?" Yeah, I make delicious kale chips. I throw all the good stuff into kale chips and I don't hold back on that. My basic ingredients for kale chips, about 2 lemons per pound of kale, all the tomato you care for, lots of tomato, at least 1 entire bunch of celery or 2, any flavor you want. You could throw in some beets and have it be a beet flavor, curry powder, Italian herbs, any flavor you want will do. It could just be garlic and onion. And then per pound of kale, about probably a 1/4 pound of almonds. I blend that down. If it's too runny, I'll add in some dehydrated tomatoes. I want the sauce to stick to the kale, not to the dehydrator sheets. But that's all it takes. It's basically lemon, tomato, celery, and almond. There's got to be plenty of sauce. Thank you for offering to do a month of raw food.
Well, wait, I did not offer. Hello,
sorry,
I said
forgot.
10 days.
Say that.
It turns out it's 11 days, and I haven't committed yet. But also, what I'm trying to tell the people that are interested that I don't want them to feel that if they're not 100%, they can't participate. The idea is to whatever they're doing,
increase the percentage of whole, fresh, ripe, organic food.
That is what because that is
easier and easier with practice. It's just something to get used to, and all of a sudden you go, actually, I like the way I feel. It becomes its own self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like, oh,
I just have a feeling I'm not going to last the day, but we'll see.